Welcome friends, let us go for the next part of environmental chemistry, that is soil, pollution as well as pesticides. India is a land of agriculture. Agriculture is the main basic for the India, and whereas in India high priority will be given, though industries are there, highest priority nowadays will be provided for the agriculture, fisheries and the other uh, food products. Whereas the food products are stored by organizations, because Indian population is very high. Whatever the food is yielding, that food is not consumed at instant, and years together, and the year together the food is to be used continuously. So therefore for this purpose, whatever the food is crafted, yielded, this food is to be stored for at least a year together. Whereas while crafting the food related products, these are damaged by many of the things, and in them some of them are insects, rodents, weeds and the other diseases. And we are using some controlling items, very familiar controlling items for the insects are insecticides. Similarly, pesticides and herbicides we will use. These insecticides, pesticides, herbicides and other materials which are chemicals, which are used for the protection of the crop from the diseases, insects, rodents, weeds, etc., can cause the pollution to the soil, and that pollution is said to be the soil pollution. Pesticides, years back, before World War II, chemicals such as nicotine is used in the agriculture sector to control the pests. That is, tobacco plants are planted in the mid of the crops. With this tobacco plants, the pest control is generally done. But during World War II, what happened is DDT is found to be uh, having great use in controlling of the malaria related insects. So therefore, after the consequences of World War II, the DDT is introduced into the agriculture sector. Whereas the DDT used to control the damages, those are caused by insects, rodents, weeds and the other agricultural diseases. Whereas in the following subsequent years, it came to know for the world that DDT is having most of its adverse effect, though for the short range it is having its good applications, and it has been banned. An introduction towards the pesticides. Pesticides are toxic chemicals which are not having any kind of welcome towards the ecology. Whereas pest can gain resistance by the repeated use of the pesticides. So in sequence, the pest got resistant towards the DDT. Further, in the place of DDT, the pest industries introduced new chemicals like aldrin and also D-aldrin were introduced by the pest industries. Whereas most of the organic toxins in the form of pesticides, that whatever we are using, are water insoluble as well as biodegradable. Pesticides of water soluble are also available. The water soluble pesticides reaches towards the root of the plant and easily mix with the environment, especially with the soil. More instant effect it can be shown, and at the same time more damage can also be offered by the pesticides. All pesticides are high persistent toxins, that is, do their corresponding work, though it is very difficult, irrespective of all side things, side effects, it will do the effect oriented on the target. Whereas they are transferred from the low level of traffic to the high level of traffic through the food chain, over a period of time their accumulation increases in the higher animals, which causes serious metabolical as well as the physiological disorders like indigestion, white hair, heart problems, prematurity, early delivery, diabetes, blood pressure. These are all due to the pesticides accumulations in the food chain. Whereas pollutants gets 10 times more concentration at each trophical level, the pollutant in the form of molecule levels are accumulated in the water, suppose. Then it is getting deposited in the aquatic life, aquatic plants. Then it is eaten by fish, small fish. The deposition is going to be taking place. Small fish is eaten by the large fish. So therefore here the deposit once again increases by another 10 times. There's a large fish to the largest fish, then it reaches to the human with the high concentrations and high accumulations. That leads to the serious metabolic as well as the physiological disorders. Chlorinated organic toxins are having high persistence. That is, they are having the very less biodegradability and very target oriented action in the form of, if it is missing the target, then it is having most of its adverse effects. So therefore hence a new series of less persistent or more biodegradable products are introduced by the industries in the form of pesticides, and those are organophosphates and the carbamates. These have been introduced. These are acting as severe central nervous system, acting on the central nervous system severely, that is CNS is getting affected. Thus these are acting as pesticides. But thing is, due to their action, severe action over the central nervous system, they found to be dangerous towards the human life also. Due to developed resistance in pest towards the phosphate as well as the carbamate, which are seriously acting on the central nervous system, attention of the pest companies is shifted towards the herbicides. Herbicides like sodium chlorate, sodium arsenate are released in the market. Most of the herbicides are toxic to mammal, but are not as that much toxic as organochlorides. Organochlorides are very much persistent, very much toxic. Compared to these organochlorides, herbicides are to certain extent less toxic. And the herbicides are also concentrated in the food web. Some of them shows birth defects also. That is, the side effect of the herbicides, more exposure of the human towards the herbicides leads to the next generation problem like birth defects can also be shown by the herbicides. And studies reveals that suppose the cornfield sprayed with the herbicides is more prone towards the insect attack compared to the non-herbicide sprayed cornfields. Thus the immune system of the living objects is getting affected by the herbicides, and it becomes very close towards all varieties of infections caused by the insects. Such kind of nature is present for the toxic chemicals which are used in the form of pesticides, maybe that is insecticide, that may be used as herbicide, and any of them is having its own effect over the living system. Whatever the discussion made over the pesticides and the herbicides, these are all are a small portion of the widely spread pollution offered by the chemical substances, whereas a large number of other compounds that are used regularly in chemical spray, chemical industries and the manufacturing process, finally released into the atmosphere in one or the other form and causes a lot of pollution. The next one is industrial waste. Industrial waste is divided into two categories. One is biodegradable industrial waste and non-biodegradable industrial waste. The biodegradable industrial wastes are generally released from the cotton mills, food processing units, and the paper mills as well as the textile factories, etc. Whereas non-biodegradable industrial waste includes the thermal power plants related byproducts and the metallurgical industries, fertilizers, drugs, pharmaceuticals, dyes, pesticides as well as the rubber industries, etc. Whereas the thermal power plants includes the fly ash, and now the metallurgical operations includes the slag, the smelting slag liberated in the steel industries and steel manufacture, and in the zinc and the other metals related purification includes mud and the tailing consisting of impurities, and it is non-biodegradable and present for years together of time in the soil. Similarly, the cement industries offers gypsum, and the inflammable and the composite very complex structures can be liberated from the drugs manufacturing as well as the pharmaceutical manufacturing. Even traces of heavy metals can also be present, which are very harmful for the soil, and these of all offers pollution which are of non-biodegradable of category. If the disposal of non-biodegradable is not done in a proper manner, it causes serious problems, serious threat to the environment. And the advances in the science are also offering some logics to control the unwanted pollutions coming from the industries. And one of the best example is the fly ash as well as the slag coming from the metallurgical operations is nowadays used in the manufacturing of the cement as well as in the manufacturing of the bricks. Thus, science is also offering in its own way the resolutions for the pollutants. Till now, whatever are considered as the pollutants, now they are used as some useful work for the constructive purpose. And small quantities of the industrial pollutants which are of non-biodegradable, generally these are burnt along with the factory garbage in open areas, in open bins, whereas the large quantities, then what they will do is a controlled incineration, that is nothing but a controlled destruction is applied. Here it is reverse. If it is small quantities burnt in open areas of the industries, open bins, whereas if it is large in quantities, incineration techniques are applied. Controlled destruction is slowly applied over the large quantities of the non-biodegradable components, thereby they are slowly decomposed and converted to the biodegradable pollutants. Thus, the strength of pollutant is decreased by controlled incineration, controlled destruction methods. Next is strategies to control the environmental pollution. Here, the technique generally used for the controlling of pollution of the environment to certain extent is, that is, collection and the disposal technique. Whatever the pollutants are there, whatever are responsible for the pollutants, to the maximum extent, these are collected from the household, from the industries, and wherever they are there, these are all are collected, and these are all are collected, followed by separation method is applied in such a way that some of them are biodegradable and some of them are non-biodegradable. These are all are separated. These biodegradable things are converted into compost in landfills, whereas non-biodegradable includes plastics, glass, metal scrap, etc., rubber, and these are all are sent for the recycling units, whereby these are all are made into some other secondary items or the tertiary items which are of not that much useful items, like some other useful less quality containing items can be made from the non-biodegradable things. Thus, mostly a method is applied over the waste materials which are known as pollutants for the environment in such a way that they will be used and their quantity in terms of concentration in environment is decreased by collection, separation, followed by disposal technique. The other methods that are applicable for the controlling of pollution. Environmental pollution is controlled by proper waste management, and conventional fuels are to be replaced by non-conventional fuels like solar energy and the hydrogen gases, etc. And the green chemistry techniques are to be applied in the industry, especially in the research works for the maintaining of the less pollution levels. And especially for these of all things, high population is responsibility. Population growth makes the persons for the new innovations. Thereby, a proper regulation should be there in the population maintenance, and biodegradable all pollutants are to be collected and these are converted to the compost. In this way, to certain extent, the pollution is to be reduced. Green chemistry. The usage of knowledge and the principles of chemistry are the other sciences to develop methods to reduce as far as possible the environmental pollution is known as green chemistry. Especially we will take the help of chemistry and to certain extent the other parts of the science to reduce the maximum pollutants, contaminants as well as pollution of all varieties like soil pollution, water pollution, air pollution and all the things. So here especially the pharma companies and the chemical industries and research institutes are offering a lot of pollution compared to the remaining sectors of the pollution. The basic agricultural pollution of soil as well as aquatic pollution, that is water pollution, is due to the pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, etc. These are also results from the chemical industries. So therefore, chemical industries relevant pollution is a lot. Hence, prevention, care, attention has to be taken to reduce the pollution offered by the industries. Hence, green chemistry came into light. It is mostly eligible for the chemical industries. Here, we have to perform the chemical reactions in such a way that every chemical reaction is offering unwanted byproducts. And these byproducts are not to be taken any kind of care and attention. These are to be just added in sink, and once again it combines with the soil, and soil pollution is going to be coming to light. So therefore, in order to avoid this particular variety of the pollution related to the byproducts, chemical reactions are to be done in such a way that there won't be maximum byproducts. The byproduct number has to be reduced. Proper care and attention has to be taken over the reaction mechanism, and the study of reaction is done in such a way, in such a serious manner, that the unwanted byproducts number has to be decreased. Second one is, we have to perform the chemical transformations in such a way that there won't be any kind of byproduct. And third one is, it involves, the green chemistry involves the minimum chemical usage, minimum energy, minimum wastage, and the minimum toxic materials production, minimum byproducts production. Thus, our work should be in such a way, it does these of all things involvement with the target oriented, product oriented synthesis, where there won't be any other major pollutants except our the product. That is in economic manner, atom economic manner, eco-economic manner, the research work has to be done. And moreover, nowadays, due to the green chemistry, there are some more replacements in the form of science is giving prevention towards the science related pollutants. Thus here, organic solvents are replaced in certain cases by the aqueous solvents, because aqueous solvents doesn't offer much pollution compared to the organic solvents. And secondly, certain reactions are designed in such a way that the catalyst is, the same catalyst is used for cycles of times and leads to the formation of the product over a period of years together. And in certain reactions are performed in such a way that the solvent medium, once if you add that material which is acting as a solvent, that reoccurring cycles are going to be occurring, that is solvent also can be retrieved from the reaction product. In such a way reactions are to be developed. Next, tetrachloroethane is generally used for the dry cleaning purpose to remove the dirt and the stains present over the cloths. But nowadays, because it is carcinogenic, causes a lot of pollution towards the all varieties of the sectors of the environment in dry cleaning and the laundry industry. Whereas now it is replaced by the liquid carbon dioxide, solid carbon dioxide. Whereas this carbon dioxide is volatile and it doesn't offer any kind of soil pollution. Now, in the early days, we used to go for chlorine as well as the bleaching powder for the chlorination purpose. But these are harmful, and if small deposits present as traces in the water enters into the human system or cycle, once again it is also offering its adverse effect. Nowadays it is getting replaced by the hydrogen peroxide. Now methods are developed for the synthesis of acetaldehyde by using aqueous medium, either by platinum or the copper as the catalyst from the acetylene in single step. That is, number of methods, number of steps are to be reduced. Time required for the conversion has to be reduced. Energy required for the conversion is to be reduced. And the product yield has to be increased. And byproduct number has to be decreased. Byproduct toxicity has to be decreased. Even the solvents as a catalyst, a cycles manner, that is for many number of times that has to be applied to get the product by not stopping the reaction at one stage followed by going for the next reaction. Cycles wise, for the same quantity of the substance of solvent and the catalyst has to be used in such a way that it is applied for many number of times. Thus methods are to be applied, and proper attention and care has to be taken in reducing the pollution strength of the industrial wastages by proper management methods. Like this, green chemistry offers the possible technical methods for the reduction of the pollution coming from the industries and the all other parts of the science and sectors.